This video is probably going to be terrible, but that's kind of the point. You see, one of the things I want to talk about today is that we need to stop waiting for everything to be perfect before we start doing something. And that's true in my own life, and that's probably true of a lot of you as well. Many of us have all kinds of good ideas. Uh, we could probably think of hundreds, if not thousands of them that we've had throughout our lives. But how many of those ideas have we actually taken action? Um, probably not zero, but I would say in my own life, less than 10%. In fact, I would say 10% would be a lofty number compared to what I've actually done. And that doesn't mean that I don't have good ideas. I have lots of good ideas. I've even seen ideas of mine become reality when other people had the same idea as me. Um, when I was 10 years old, I imagined vehicles that could travel on electromagnets and levitate and go super fast. And then they developed maglev trains. And although we don't see those much here in America, I don't even know if I don't think we have any here. But around the world, they're super popular, and they get a lot of use. Um, Now, granted, as a what I think I was 10 or 12 years old, somewhere in that region, in that age range, there was not much of a possibility of my ideas becoming reality. Not those kind of ideas, at least. Um, Not to say that there aren't young geniuses out there who don't create amazing things, but usually they have some kind of foundation for doing that. Usually they've got a family or relatives or something who can give them that kind of foundational support to bring those things into reality. But for most of us, the average person, that foundation doesn't exist. And as time goes on, the chances of you having that foundation is becoming less and less. So people who are growing up today have a much slimmer chance of having that firm foundation of a solid family or a good network as a young person than even I did. And I didn't have that. I had a very shaky foundation growing up. We moved probably on average more than once per year. That didn't mean we were always moving every year, but I counted it the other day. I'm 40 now, and I've moved a little over 30 times in my life. So I've moved a lot. And that has had some serious repercussions in my life that aren't really, they're not reversible, but that doesn't mean that I can't build on what came before. So, what am I trying to say here? What I'm trying to say is that we have a problem in this country. Uh, Things are deteriorating all around us. We're told that the economy's good, but most people can't find a job. We're told that inflation is pretty low. I've seen as low as 3%. Um, while we're actually going to the grocery store and things are twice as expensive as they were 2 years ago. And 2 years ago, they were twice as expensive as they were a few years before that. Housing has gone up astronomically. It doesn't matter if you're renting or buying, things are insane. Um, I remember when I was 18 years old, we could get a two-bedroom apartment, pretty nice place, you know, no real major flaws with it. Not the nicest place in the world, but it didn't have major issues. and it was about 750 or 800 bucks a month or something like that. And nowadays, the same place in this area uh, could easily go for 2,500 bucks a month. Or for a place that would be big enough for my family and I, we would need at least 4 bedrooms. 5 bedrooms would really be better. We're looking at well over 3,000 a month, and that's to rent. That's not buying. Um, Back in 2020, right before we sold our house, we were paying $1,500 a month for mortgage for a 5 bedroom house, 4 bathrooms. Um, that's pretty insane. That kind of a price difference. Nowadays, the median home value in this area is something like it's over $1 million. And I was asking the good old AI the other day, what would somebody with my family size need to make in order to live comfortably? Not to be rich, just to live comfortably. And it said that my wife and I would both need to be working and making $84.84 an hour. I thought that was funny. Each. So we need to be bringing in about $170 an hour between the two of us to live comfortably. Now, we do have a large family. We have 7 kids, soon to be 8. And, but I was looking at figures for, I believe I looked at, it was either 2 children or 4 children. I can't remember. And the numbers weren't that much better. You still got to be making a lot of money. You can be making 6 figures now and considered poor. That's the state of the country right now. And it's not just our country, too. It's the whole world. I mean, you can go online and you see people all over the place who are complaining about how bad things are. And it's Western countries and Eastern countries. There's not really a place where this isn't happening. I mean, maybe there is. Maybe there's some small country somewhere. I'm sure there's some exception to the rule, but typically the exception doesn't defy the rule, it defines the rule. There's a reason it's an exception. It's because the rule exists. And right now, the rule is that nobody's doing very well unless you're in the top echelon of society, of, call it this global society. Well, globally, we're all suffering. um, so I'd like to see where this good economy is taking shape. And with the current state of our nation, the United States, being such that statistically something like 80% of all people in the country are one crisis away from being homeless. So one transmission breaking in your car, one catastrophic health issue that lands you in the hospital, one layoff, which there's a lot of those. People are not in a good spot right now. And that 20% who's not in this situation seems to have, by and large, like blinders over their eyes. They can't seem to see the forest for the trees. They've got a good situation, and somehow that takes away all sense of empathy or sense of awareness of others. It's really quite mysterious, but it's part of the human condition. We tend to relate with those who are like ourselves and not people who are different than us. And so you end up with a lot of people who are, I say a lot, but it's a minority. It's a fifth of the country, who seem to have little to no clue what is happening. These are people, oftentimes they're from the baby boomer generation, but not always. There's young people who've gotten successful and done well for themselves, and great for them. That's awesome. But a lot of these people who are doing well, who aren't feeling the effects, um, it's like they're not even aware of what's going on in the country. It's in fact, if you go high up enough the pyramid, you've got people who think things are doing great, and they are for them. I mean, that's what happened during the lockdowns. Is our economy tanked? Tens of thousands of small businesses ceased to exist, and the world's largest corporations ended up making record profits. Um, I think it was Elon Musk. His net worth like doubled or something like that during the first couple years, I think it was, of the lockdowns. While again, many tens of thousands of businesses no longer around. And where do those people go who used to run those tens of thousands of businesses? Because those are employers and employees who now have to go back into the job market and saturate the job market. Well, we've also got millions of people flooding across the border. And I have a heart for true refugees, and not even refugees, just strictly, immigrants. I think that, hey, if you can find a better life in another country, if that's America or anywhere else, I say go for it. You do better for yourself, for your family. Um, you should do that, but you should try to do it legally. You shouldn't be cutting fences and hopping borders and stuff like that to get in places. Um, but I also don't believe in the extreme view that we should just start deporting people all over the place. And I don't agree with the extreme view that we should just start giving these people thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars every single month because they managed to break the law and get in here. I think there's some solution that's somewhere in the middle. We need to be more vigilant on our borders. We need to be uh, vetting people better. We need to work on getting people productive and not just consuming. Um, and we need to crack down on companies that are hiring people. I think they actually went the other direction on that. I think they started basically telling companies that, hey, you can hire illegal immigrants with no repercussions, even though it's illegal. So no wonder we've got this massive job crisis right now where you've got, supposedly a great job market where there's twice as many job listings as there are job seekers. But over half of those job listings are ghost jobs. And if you don't know what a ghost job is, it's basically a job that people are listing, corporations are listing usually. I don't know that it's done by smaller companies, but these large corporations are um, posting jobs for various reasons that they have zero intention of filling. They have uh, some of the reasons for it. Edit that out. I've got the window open. It's about 98 degrees in here right now, so I'm sweating. Air conditioner's broken right now. Can't afford to fix it, and just what I got to deal with right now. So sorry for the motorcycle, but um, the reason for these ghost jobs is that there's a bunch of different reasons. One reason is that these companies want to uh, they want to please investors, right? So when they're posting job listings, it gives the appearance that the company is growing, that things are doing well, and influences investors to continue investing or increase investments, or bring in new investors who aren't yet investing. That's one reason. Another reason is that it appeases current employees who are overworked, who have too much on their plate because they're working at a company that almost certainly has recently had a bunch of layoffs. And those layoffs didn't result in less work, it resulted in more work. So the people who stuck around now have to do the work of 2 or 3 people. And they're asking their manager, saying, you know, we need to get people on here. When are we going to get more? And they say, oh, well, no worries. We've got job postings. And so the employee goes and looks at their company website and they say, oh, yeah, there's some job postings there. Cool. That's great because I'm dying here and I'm not getting paid more to do all this extra work. And then months go by and nothing happens. And they go back to their manager and the manager says, oh, well, we just haven't found the qualified candidate. Really? You've got hundreds at the bare minimum, if not thousands of people applying for every single job, and you can't find a qualified candidate. You've got automated ATS filters that immediately get rid of all the worst candidates. I mean, they don't get rid of them, they put them on a ranking system. And so now you've got your cream of the crop right at the top, and you can sit there and you can go through the best qualified candidates to make your job that much easier. If you can't find someone, no, you're not intending to fill that position at all. And there's other reasons too for doing this. Companies like to have a pool of candidates, pool of qualified candidates, should they actually need to hire at some point in the future. So should the economy truly become good and people start, needing to hire more people, or corporations need to hire more people, then they have a pool of candidates who have been applying. They've got probably, even after stripping out the bad ones, they've probably got hundreds of qualified candidates that they can just dip into and say, let's reach out to so and so. They probably haven't found a job in the current market, so they're probably still available. Let's reach out to them. So and there's other reasons too. I'm probably not thinking of everything right now, but things are not good. So what should we do? What should we do? Because a lot of us are sitting around and we're jobless, or maybe we're working at a job and we are trying to find a better one because the people who are working are miserable. Well, the solution is entrepreneurship. And not everybody has to be an entrepreneur for this to work. But if you're not ready to become an entrepreneur, then you should consider working for an entrepreneur. So that's something I'm going to cover more in my next video. I'd like to share a lot of the things that I've been learning and things that I think could help you be successful and happy and work less and make more. And something that could actually help save our country and maybe save the world. Sounds lofty, but I think it'll work. So stay tuned and subscribe for more.